webinar.
Thank you, Irina, for those technical insights, and hello to everyone. I'm really glad to have you all here. We will be nearly 60, 70 people today. So there's really a great interest in the question between experts in tourism, how we get out of the crisis in the next month and years to come. Just to give you a short overview of what we are talking about today. We start in the very north, in the true north, how Schleswig-Holstein brands themselves. Bettina, CEO of tourism agency of Schleswig-Holstein, Land Schleswig-Holstein, will be so nice to give us some insights how she sees the future out of the crisis. After that, and I'm really glad about that, we will leave our Baltic Sea region and move over to Hermann Fercher, who's the president of the organization Best of the Alps, and this is, one can really say, cooperation of the best and most splendid skiing arenas worldwide. So it will be interesting for us to see how those guys from the Alps region will see our future. Surprising enough, this is something I'm really glad about, because we have Birgit Freese in. She's the CEO of Kampen Marketing. This is the tourism agency of village on the island of Sylt in the North Sea, and they have a very nice cooperation with Best of the Alps, with Lech Zürs in Austria. So you can see there is already a lot of cooperation going on, and I hope that after the seminar we'll have some more cooperations. From that point, we will jump into our city cases, and there we have Turku in Finland, we will have the Pomeranian region in Poland, and we have our city example with Uwe from Kiel Saving City, my hometown. So thank you all for being here. I hope that we have our president, the president of UBC in Mantas. I can't see him, but this can be...
Yes, I've heard that he has some problems getting in, so maybe we can get a comment from him a bit later on when he is in the meeting. So.
Okay, no problem. So open the door for him. We don't know why Irina doesn't want to let him in, but at any point he will be in, and then we will have a short greeting. So without any further delay, I would say let's start with Hermann Ferchner, with Brigitte Bunge, Bettina Bunge, CEO of the True North. Bettina, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, dear Wolfgang, dear colleagues from all over the Baltic region. I'm so happy to be part of your discussion. I hope to interact with you to get to know more about what you are doing, and I have the chance now to give you a little bit of insight concerning our region here in the north of Germany. I will share my presentation with you, and hopefully you're gonna see it in a minute. Do you see my presentation? Yeah. Wonderful. Yeah, I was asked by Wolfgang to talk a little bit about the future of tourism, and for giving you some start of it, I just get you some information about our destination, our company, to start with. And I talked to Wolfgang also that we may share this presentation afterwards. So you can, it will be sent to all of you after your session, and so that may help you. I hope it may help you in the future. By the way, when I heard about your organization, I looked it up in the internet a little bit more closer, and in a way I was very sad that I didn't drop by in your office in Gdansk in Poland last time I went to Gdansk, and so next time I promise to drop by and say hello if you want me to, because last time I was there as being vice president of the European Cities Marketing Organization, where I had been joining beforehand, before coming here to Schleswig-Holstein. So I'm a little bit connected to some of your cities, and I hope to share a little bit of my knowledge with your knowledge you have already. Yeah, about Schleswig-Holstein, you may all know, we're in the north of Germany with 2.8 million inhabitants and more than 400 kilometers to the Baltic Sea, of coastline to the Baltic Sea. We are also part of the Baltic Sea States sub-regional cooperation, so not only via your city cooperation, but also with a political network of 10 states. I think there are many more corporations in the Baltic Sea, so that makes me feel very positive that we are so well connected. We as Schleswig-Holstein have representative offices in the Baltic Sea region, in Kaliningrad, in St. Petersburg, Vilnius, Riga, and Tallinn. Our Ministry of Justice, European Affairs and Consumer Protection is responsible for all the affairs concerning the Baltic region, just as an information for you. We are so proud to have Kiel as our capital city. It's the only UBC member we have in Schleswig-Holstein. There are 3 more cities in Germany, like Rostock, Stralsund, and Greifswald, but I'm a little bit sad that not more cities along our coastline are part of your important network. So if you want me to, I will do some promotion, but it depends on Uwe Wanger if he wants me to do that. So concerning tourism, we are it's quite an important business factor for the whole federal state. We have more than 36 million overnights per year. Not now, that's for sure, but we had a good restart. I'm going to talk about it later. Our main source markets are Germany, our own destination, Denmark, Sweden, Switzerland, Norway, and Poland. Besides the overnight stays, we have more than 130 million day visitors, especially also from Denmark coming and from other federal states. Our tourism turnover per year is round about 9.5 billion, and so it's a very important business sector here in our federal state. Round about 170,000 people are working in the tourism sector, and if you compare it to the other 15 federal states of Germany, we are number 5 concerning tourism if you compare it concerning overnight. So what about us as the Tourism Board and Convention Bureau? It may be interesting, especially if you compare it to your destinations, your regional destinations, federal destinations. We are the official destination marketing management organization. We are a 100% subsidiary company of the state. We get around about 3.5 million euros per year. Compared to the other German states, there is a way to improve, but I'm very optimistic, and at the moment especially we need more money in order to survive as the whole industry. 90% is financed by the state, the other 10% come from within the industry, helping us to do more marketing. We are 22 people here in our office based in Kiel. Mostly we do marketing and PR, but we are also a network hub. We have a lot of cooperation projects with regional, local entities, and especially also with our cities. So Uwe Wanger is the head of an association here that combines the interests of 13 cities in Schleswig-Holstein, and we do have a new cooperation contract because we want to intensify our cooperation, and not everyone is doing for himself or for herself, but to do it in a joint way. Yeah, how do we get out of the lockdown? What did we do in the last weeks and months, and what are we planning to? By the way, this is the Kiel Sailing Week, normally taking place in June every year with more than 3.5 million visitors. It's not cancelled but postponed to September, but not in a big way, but in a small project, more the focus on the sailing, but not on the public event. Maybe Uwe is going to talk about it later. So what are the ways out of the lockdown? First of all, you need to have a crisis manual. You need to have a crisis management plan. And my colleague from New York always told me, have a crisis manual and never let dust stay on your crisis management plan. Not just inventing it and then putting it in the drawer and then leaving it there forever. And we just now realized how important it is to know what to do, to have the mobile number of every important person you need to talk with. And so I realized I don't have it. And so I have to do some homework, and I'm already doing it. Yeah, we had a sharp shutdown from March 18th on. What did we do as an organization? We had to deeply cooperate with the governments, and they sometimes daily, weekly decrees enactments took place, and we had to communicate it. And I must say, we had a very close cooperation, and it was much more intense than before the crisis. And that's a positive thing. I mean, the hard it is, we got more connected, we talked very often, and even on weekends, everyone was reachable. And so that's a positive thing besides the negative sides we are all facing. We had to communicate, stay at home, and even go back home when we closed our borders. That was very critical, and I had to train my team how to deal with the angry Germans, mostly Germans, that were very upset about the closing of the borders. Afterwards, we had a communication strategy concerning Dream Now, Visit Later, with quizzes, with pictures, with films, with everything that helped to stay positive concerning our destination. And there were a lot of solidarity projects taking place in cities and rural areas, and we communicated them as well. Besides, there was set up a recovery program of the state, and it's still going on, and it's very, very important that the industry survives. And we had, there was a very close cooperation between politics, the regional, local governments, and the tourism industry. Yeah, since May 18th, we are now having the gradual reopening of the tourism, and step by step, it's still not everything is possible, and so it's a lot of PR going on. Press statements have to be made, and we are doing a lot of collaborative marketing campaigns and PR concerning Welcome Back, direction Schleswig-Holstein, to get everyone motivated to come to our destination. In a positive way, we are a little bit overrun by guests, because people, there was still the warning, the global warning concerning international tourism, and so a lot of Germans decided to spend their holidays, their vacation here in Schleswig-Holstein or in Mecklenburg-Vorpommern or in Bavaria or in other places. But we had to exactly say what's open, what's not open, and this is still going on. Yeah, we Germans, we sometimes need to be very strict and very not in a smiling way, talking what to do and what not to do. And so we decided to make an information sheet about the hygiene regulations and distancing rules in a little more humoristic way, in a little more funny way. Still important, but saying like, please wash your hands as much as if you have just peeled a bag full of shrimps. Yeah, because then it's not smelling so well. So, so we tried to make it a little bit more funny, but still important to say. The recovery program is still going on of the state, and to the right you see a little screenshot of our Danish Facebook site where we talk about Dream Now, Visit Later. Since yesterday, we can be more positive because the borders are opening to our neighboring country, Denmark. But it was very, very important to always say, Dream Now, Visit Later. But you as our wonderful guest, please stick with us. Yeah, what do we do? What are we planning now? What are we doing now? First of all, we had to ask also our partners, all the politicians, our guests, our inhabitants about their needs, what we can do. I mean, a little bit of a redefining of our role, not just doing by ourselves big marketing campaigns, but do you need help? Can we do something together? Where is the exact need? And we therefore, together with the regions and with the partners, the city partners, we developed a new marketing campaign. And to the right, you see our Welcome Back campaign. Unfortunately, not in English or Danish yet, but here you can see some pictures, and in a way they say after 39 days in shoes indoors or in socks, now there's freedom for your feet. Yeah, or after 146 homeschooling lectures with your kids, now you have, or working, we say büffeln as working, and now you see the real animals outside. Or concerning the mice business, which is very important, not only looking at the leisure tourism, but also looking at the mice business. We say after all those virtual meetings, finally we get back to some team spirit and do some incentives or outdoor activities with our teams. So this is our actual campaign going on, mostly online and in PR and with PR as well as online marketing. What do we do now? We still follow our long-term tourism strategy 2025. We don't think that it has to be totally put in a trash bin, but we have to redefine it, and we have to adapt to the crisis and the future challenges. And sustainability, we even talked about it before the crisis, becomes our guiding principle for our company as well as for the destination. It's not yet into all the mental or in all the heads of all the people concerned, but we have some ambassadors helping us to get a really sustainable tourism strategy in the future. Visitor channeling becomes more important than general marketing campaigns at the moment, because a lot of tourists coming in, they want to come to the hotspots, and they don't see that there are much more treasures in the rural areas or within the cities. Yeah, and as the cities suffer a lot at the moment concerning not going on mice business, meetings and conventions, we really have to help the cities and to get the visitors channeled to maybe more unknown places and not to the touristic hotspots they even all know. Yeah, what we also realize in this crisis is that specific sectors suffer more than others. For example, the accommodation is going on quite well at the moment, but the gastronomy is suffering a lot, culture is suffering a lot, MICE business is suffering a lot. So there we have to give some marketing support, and we have. And what we realize, we need a general service hotline for stakeholder needs. Yeah, maybe we are not responsible for this, answering this question or for helping in this way, but what we learned from the crisis is everyone in politics, in the tourism sector, in the marketing destination has to help wherever is possible. And maybe later on, after we can sit together and define more who is responsible for what, but not now. Now we have to help. Yeah, and do we see any changes in the tourism industry, or do we need to change? I think we do have to plan for a new tomorrow, and we have to do this now. Yeah, because now is a window of opportunity. We still have to respond to crisis tasks. We have to find ways to recover, and then in the long term, we have to find a way to do the resilience. And how do we have to change? I think we have to change in mind. And I just put up some questions here, and it says, do we really want to get rid of outdated perceptions and practices? Every one of us. Yeah, and want to change. How do we want to live? How do we want to work and travel in the future? What does it mean for our destination? Are the sustainable development goals, which are internationally known, are they our guiding principles of action? The social dimension, the economic and the ecological dimension, how do we treat our people? Do we change the planning? Do we prepare our people, our destination, our communication? Do we develop a sustainable destination management and marketing plan? How can we learn from each other? Yeah, who is maybe further and who is behind in a way? And change in action. Are we leaving old habits behind and change for the better? Are we courageous enough to go first? Are we ready to make mistakes? We don't like to make mistakes, yeah? But we have to, in order to find out what works well and what not. And with whom should we collaborate, especially here in the Baltic region or outside of it? How can we share? I always say, from my ECM experience, from my European cities marketing experience, we say we meet, we share, and we grow. And that is, I think, important for all of us. So I think the future is now, the positive future is now, and depending on every one of us, not here is the government, or here is the industry, or here is whoever, we have to do it together. And if you want to know more about Schleswig-Holstein, we have a website or social media channels, or you can even write me if you want and share your ideas, or just discuss it now. So that was maybe a first introduction, a first help for your fruitful way of talking about the Baltic cities. And thank you so much for listening. I will stop my presentation now and come back to you. And thank you so much, and yeah, hope to talk to you and share your ideas. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Bettina. This was really interesting and encouraging. And as some of you might know, I am from Schleswig-Holstein, from Kiel. And with you, Bettina, I'm not afraid about the future of tourism in Schleswig-Holstein. Thank you for that. So before we ask for some question, if you allow, Bettina, I would like to hand over to Mantas, who's the president of the Union of the Baltic Cities. UBC is the biggest city network in Northern Europe, and it is a collaboration of more than 70 cities around the Baltic Sea region. So, Mantas, thank you for being here. It would be great to have some welcoming words from you. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for accepting me. As you mentioned, you feel safe from the city level, and I feel much more safe from the union level, because such events and webinars shows that with this UBC family that is fast changing, adoptive, this is not a virus of deaths. This is virus of unity, and shows our fast reaction and adaptation capabilities. So I feel calm about it. All be fine. Our region from the local level will be okay. And I think that UBC is also changing, also maybe even faster changing now, because this COVID stimulates the change also even faster. As Bettina was mentioning, the biggest success thing can be only if we do it together. As faster we gather together and share how we see, how we feel, how our people feel in different cities, as more fast we will find the solutions. I'm happy UBC is providing such spaces and platforms to start the change. And I would like to thank the Smart and Prosperous Cities Commission to help for this big mission that we have in the special times. And I hope that we just not just declare that UBC is ready, we already prove that UBC is ready. And in this sensitive time for tourism sector, UBC is very needed, and I would like to thank you all for dedicating your time. I hope we can deliver the recommendations forward with a very positive mood, with the opportunity wind of change. So thank you once again, and all be okay, and enjoy the webinar. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mantas, for your positive and encouraging words, and thank you for bringing the UBC, as you say, into a new future. This is what I absolutely can underline. Even in these times, more than ever before, in a defined region, cooperation between cities, between regions is really key in these times. We have to learn from each other, and we have seen with Bettina's presentation that things can change within some days, and everything is new, and then it's always good to rely on partners. And if you want to rely on someone, you need a structure how to cooperate, and this is what a UBC president is organizing. Cooperation between more than 70 people, cities, and I would say he's doing a perfect job. Thank you, Mantas. Thank you for that. So, Bettina, do you allow questions from the audience? Yeah, you do. I see your clapping hands. So again, this is new to me, how to organize questions in a webinar, but we talked about that, Irina, and there are three opportunities. Either you raise your physical hand, or you raise this Zoom hand you have on your desk, or you can write into the chat room. So it sounds complicated, but you have three options, but I think the easiest way would be if you raise your hand. And then Irina, I think you're the master of ceremony, aren't you, Irina? You're the only one who can give the word to someone. So now it's really up to Irina. So give Irina a sign if you want to ask a question to Bettina.
For now.
I have a question.
You have a question to yourself.
No, not to myself, but to the group.
Okay, go ahead.
If possible.
Excellent.
Yeah, we just set up a more intense cooperation between the federal state marketing organization, the regional organization, and especially the cities. And we made up a contract. Uwe is master of ceremony, and I would like to know if in your region, states, there are good connections between the cities and the regions, or if there's still way to improve. Maybe you have like a best practice where you say, oh, here you can learn something, this works very well, because we always want to share, and it would be wonderful to know from the Baltic region maybe a great city corporation besides your UBC within a state, within a country, where we can learn from. Thank you.
Yes, okay. Thank you, Bettina. Is there any answers to Bettina's question? Comments?
So I would like to, if it's okay for you, I'd like to comment on this a bit. I'm working at the same time, as you might know, I'm working for the city of Kiel, city of around about 250,000 inhabitants. And even as we are in the Baltic Sea region, not the smallest city, UBC has St. Petersburg, and we are not as big as St. Petersburg, but we are not the smallest city. But even for a city as Kiel is, it is really crucial to have a word towards the region and the federal state. And this is something, and even the European Union, and this is something you can't have if you're going there as a city alone. So even when it comes to the European Union, that is really affecting everything what we are doing, and they have a lot of those funding monies. We don't have to go there as a city alone because we are too small, although we have these 250,000 inhabitants, but we are too small. And therefore, from our point of view, it is really crucial to go there as a cooperation of cities. But so Irina, do you see any more questions? Otherwise, I would like to ask one more question.
No, at the moment there's no more questions. There was one question previously about when did the hotels in Germany open up again, and I think the answer was the 18th of May.
18th of May, okay, good news. So if you want to go to Schleswig-Holstein, you are more than welcome. Bettina still has some, and Uwe too, they still have some hotel rooms free. Bettina, may I ask you one question? You've been talking about cooperation, and you put all your measures, and they seem very clearly and structured to me. If you look at the UBC, we have smaller towns, we have cities. Is there an advice you, as a corporation and a manager of a regional corporation, would give directly to a medium-sized city in the Baltic Sea region?
Wolfgang, did I understand you right? You want an advice from me concerning UBC, what to do, or concerning a smaller, is it more for the members or for the organization?
It would be, for me, it would be more interesting to give it directly to the member cities. So if you imagine a city like Turku, for example, what would you advise them to get out of the crisis? Is there any advice?
I mean, every situation is different. And I think, first of all, be optimistic and be positive. Yeah. I mean, we all come through crisis, and sometimes it's depressing and you have to motivate your people and so on, but try to be positive and optimistic. Concerning your members, to all of you, I can give the advice, look for friends and collaboration. Yeah, a collaboration concerning maybe you get some money from if you collaborate in a certain way with other cities or with a region, or you can share bad and best practices, as I was just saying, because we realized there are so many creative, genius people in my everywhere, and also here in my federal state, and I realized, wow, what are they doing in Lübeck, in Kiel, in Flensburg, wherever? Maybe we can use this. So it's always good to have a platform, like a sharing platform of good ideas, creative ideas, and also of bad practices, because sometimes people experience sometimes and it's not working. Yeah, and we shall not all fall in the same trap. Yeah, so it's also good to have a platform where you say, okay, what was not going well? Yeah, and I also, when I was working for cities, it really helped me to work in the European Cities Marketing Network. It's a little bit like your UBC network, because there I got really help, especially concerning crisis management plans. Yeah, how do you do this? Crisis communication, PR, what to think about. So you don't have to invent everything by yourself. Yeah, you can just have a look, and also for free, if you are not an European Cities Marketing member, at the europeancitiesmarketing.com, you can, there are some checklists, some DMMO crisis checklist you can download if you want to get some inspiration what to do concerning tourism management and marketing. Maybe that can help.
Yeah, this sounds reasonable, Bettina. Thank you very much. Are there any more questions from your side? For me, it would be interesting to learn from the UBC member cities. What do you expect from the UBC, from your organization, Union of the Baltic Cities? Do you have any expectations towards us in these times of crisis? And President said that he's very open to help you through the crisis. Do you have any special expectations towards UBC? This would be interesting for me.
I still want to comment one more time, dear Wolfgang, if possible. I think what I realized is that sometimes there are the cities exchanging knowledge, and there are the regions exchanging knowledge, or the states exchanging knowledge. And I would love to get still connected with the UBC after this presentation. I mean, so do you have like guests, yeah, that can share your experience? Because at the European Cities Marketing Organization, they decided to open the organization also to regions. Yeah, so Catalonia and Flanders are member, even though they are not cities. So my wish would be to the UBC, if possible, that maybe for some webinars or some conferences, it would be also possible for me as a federal state, yeah, organization to be part of it, because I don't have an own international Baltic region network where I can learn from all of you. So, or from other regions. Maybe there is a network, I don't know, yeah. But for me, it would be wonderful if your conferences may not be only closed to members. I would pay a fee if needed, yeah. But that's just a spontaneous wish to not leave you and then forever.
Fantastic, Bettina. This is really something we admire very much. So let us come into a discussion about that as soon as possible. We always have, as UBC, as our commission, the Smart and Prospering Cities Commission, but as the UBC as the whole, also, we always have guests from other regions and from other sites. This is why we have Herman in here today from the Best of the Alps, because for us it's crucial to go out of the box. And yeah, fortunately we have Pavel on our side, who's the Secretary General. And Pavel, maybe you have a member application form for Bettina you can hand over, I don't know.
Yes, definitely. If Bettina is willing to join us and her organization, maybe not as a full member, but as partner of Union of the Baltic Cities, we have such an option. We have full members, we have associated members, which are cities not from our region, but from any other region which could be interesting to join us. And also we have a possibility for all other institutions and even companies to join us as partners. So of course, everybody is very welcome to UBC, and then will be treated as a member on the same rules ways, the same information being shared. Be careful, because we are sending out quite much information, so it can be also a little bit more need more time to cope with all of this. But some of this definitely could be useful, in my opinion.
Thank you, Pavel. So please send me all the information. I put my email address in the chat, or Wolfgang knows everything, or Uwe.
Okay, we'll do that for sure.
Perfect, this is great. So do you see any more applications to become a member of UBC? So if you want to, you can send me or Pavel an email, no problem about that. So do we have, Irene, do we have any more questions for this first round when we flew in from the north, having this example from Schleswig-Holstein? If this is not
no more questions at the moment.
No more questions. Okay, so if this is not the case, we don't have any more questions. So we will have a break until 11 o'clock. And I can already say that it's really worth staying on track, because right after the break, we'll go on with Hermann Fercher, president of the Best of the Alps. So if you have ever been to one of the best skiing resorts in the world, you have been a guest of Hermann Fercher. At 11 o'clock, we will go on with the Best of the Alps. See you at 11. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you very much. It was nice talking to you. Good luck with the webinar.
Thank you. Okay, so now it's 11 o'clock. Maybe we should continue with the webinar. Would you, Wolfgang, like to present the next speaker?
Absolutely. Thank you, Irene. So thank you, everyone, for being back. If I see it right, Irene, we haven't lost anyone over the break. So this is really a good sign. So we have something interesting to present to you. We now come, and this is what I'm really glad about, we come to an example from a region that is really far away from the Baltic Sea region. At the same time, one can say that the Alps are a true region, so they have a say, they are visible within Europe, they are visible against the European Union, and of course they are visible towards many, many visitors, even from Europe, but also abroad. And today we have in Hermann Fercher, who's the president of Best of the Alps, and I'm really happy that Hermann will give us an insight from this region, from this part of Europe, how they see the crisis, how their way is out of the crisis, and maybe he can give us a small explanation about how he is seeing the Baltic Sea region, because he knows our region very good. And he told me in our pre-meeting that he's a regular visitor of Schleswig-Holstein, of the north, of the true north. So he has insights from both regions. So I'm more than happy to have you here, Hermann, today. The floor is yours.
So thank you very much, Wolfgang, first of all, for the very warm welcome and a hello from Austria, from Lech. It is a rainy weather today, and we expect more sunshine when the season starts at the 26th of June. First of all, I want to say that it's really an honor and a pleasure to be with you. It's the north of Germany is one of my favorite places, maybe because my mother is from this area, and so I feel quite familiar with a lot of issues you have already mentioned in the presentations and in your speeches. Yeah, what I would like to try is to give you a short introduction concerning the resort I'm working for, my person, and the Best of the Alps group. And after reading so many, I think I feel I have read thousands of statements and press articles like you all did maybe, and I've tried to sum up a little bit of how I see the future in general of tourism, and especially focused on holiday tourism. I don't see, or I don't go into the details of MICE or city businesses, and especially what does this future means for the Alps. And here I talk about mainly about Austria, Switzerland, Italy, France, and Germany. So now I try to go to my PowerPoint webinar. Okay, so should be. Is it on? Yeah, okay, perfect. So welcome to Private Luxury Moments in Lech Zürs. Just a few words where I come from. I'm since 30 years in the tourism business, but I also had my time in the industrial business as head of marketing at Swarovski Optic. Maybe you know mainly the Swarovski Crystal Works, but they also have a niche product, a high-end niche product with binoculars and telescopes. I was in charge of marketing in the 90s and the beginning of the 2000 years. And then since 10 years, I'm CEO of Lech Zürs Tourism. And since 2 years, I'm president, chairman, Best of the Alps. Specifically, the resort I'm working for is named Lech Zürs at the Arlberg, which is situated in between Innsbruck and Zurich, right in the middle of the Western Alps. And it's famous for its winter business, but also for a growing summer business. And in the winter, we are able to offer 8,200 guest beds, mainly in the 4-star and 5-star categories. We are working with about 28 colleagues on marketing, sales, and guest services with a budget of 5.5 million euros. Our core competences in the summer is hiking, running, good food and good wine, gourmets, so-called golf, and the classic cars. In the winter, it is more or less all about alpine skiing, off-piste, again, good food, and the winter movers, which means cross-country skiing, walking, hiking in the winter. So that was just a short introduction of Lech Zürs. And now I would like to continue with Best of the Alps. As I mentioned before, I'm president since 2 years now. And it's an international European collaboration of 13 world-famous tourist destinations in the Alps. It's the only organization of this size and at this level has been for more than 30 years now. Best of the Alps means it is the whole range of different sports such as walking, climbing, downhill, skiing, golf, mountain biking, polo, everything around high-end alpine experiences. With around 1,200 events in our area, we are maybe the leading area with event marketing and also for, let's say, we are famous for everything around alpine high-end niche marketing. Here I give you a short overview where our resorts are exactly situated. One of the big advantages, which I also will come for later at my presentation, is that we are very good situated and easy to access. It's surrounded by a lot of important international airports, but maybe flying is not such a big thing in the future anymore because of many reasons. So we are happy that we are in the heart of Europe, situated and easy to reach by train and car. These are my colleagues. The Vice Chairman, Roger Monset, he's the Head of Marketing and Sales in Davos. And Sami Salm is our CEO. He is more a kind of person who is not only our face for the resorts outside of the Alps, he's also a coordinator, and it is very important for association, maybe like UBC is in the same way as Best of the Alps. It needs interaction. It needs a person who takes care for the communication, for the internal communication, and that's Sami, our best man since it's 20 years closely. Here I give you an idea concerning our strategy, our core values, our activities we are working for. I see that everything is recorded, so you can later on go through it a little bit more in details. But it starts from politics down to the exchange of know-how in between the CEOs, but also for our employees. We do PR, classic PR, we do our social media work, we do sometimes in cooperation with our institutes, like the university in St. Gallen or in Innsbruck, research and development. So it is quite a big portfolio of activities and actions we do for our participants and for our members, and also for the whole Alps. We think we are the leaders, and we have also with this leadership a responsibility we take care of. What we stand for is written in these letters here on the screen. With a budget of 600,000 euros, we try to, per year, we try to communicate around sustainability, alpinism, authenticity, identity, innovation, spirit. So all these words are significant for Best of the Alps. Out of the World Travel Office and the European Travel Commission, I took a few estimations. First of all, the first estimation is that the World Travel Organization expects that 30 to 40% decline of the inbound tourism 22 because of Corona pandemic. Concerns that with 287 million fewer international arrivals compared to 2019. So this is the challenge we are facing actually. The big question is if we are facing this challenge also in 2021 and the far future. But this is a question nobody can answer at the moment, really seriously. There is a lot of optimism or pessimism in the discussions. But based on facts and figures, we only know the past and unfortunately not the future. From the European Travel Commission comes a statement that says Corona crisis will bring fundamental changes to the travel industry. And this is what we are talking today. And they expect that pre-crisis levels of tourism demand will not be achieved before 2023. So this is one of the most serious expectations and estimations I found during the last weeks. The Austrian National Tourist Board did a tourism survey in Austria for to check the behavior of the Austrian holidaymakers, how they see or how they await to the tourism in Austria will continue during the summer. And here 60% of the Austrian holidaymakers wish more freedom and nature in their holidays. That was a clear statement from the market side, means how Austrian holidaymakers plan their Austrian holidays at the moment. And as far as I know from the German market, it is concerning the north and east coast more or less the same, if you talk about holiday tourism. So, coming to the point, what is my expectation concerning the future tourism? And here I have to say it's quite clear, and I'm so sure that most of you totally agree with it, or maybe would have made the same list with more sustainability, more innovation, quality-driven, carefully thinking and acting. Safety first will be a big issue in the future. More resilient, as we heard also before from my colleague or from our colleague. More digital, as you can see today. Normally, we would have maybe made such a meeting, organized such a meeting in Kiel, a very special place. Yeah, one thing, if you read the newspapers, especially like Zeit and others, you see that more Chinese orientation is coming. With such a clown as president of the United States, as Donald Trump is, the US market loses more and more, and not only the market, the United States as a state is losing more and more responsibility of world issues. They are at the moment, from the European view, I expect that the Chinese will take over the lead of world acting. If you see how they reacted in the past to Italy, to Germany, to Austria, it is quite clear that nobody else. And you see how stupid they act in the Ukraine or in Brazil. So the leaders of such big markets are at the moment only actors and not serious politicians. So this is a very important expectation from my side. So if we come to the Alps, and I give you here a little picture of, it is not only best of the Alps, but again, we see us as the leading resorts in the Alps. What does all this mean for holiday making in the Alps? And Birgit Freese, I'm happy to have you on this webinar as well. And you will later maybe confirm that there's a lot of things in common in between the Northeast Sea areas and the Alps, because we all act a lot with nature, freedom, and more the easy life with the nature around us, which is normally not comparable to other areas in the world. But we have to be clear what is the world looking for. And here I have a chart on the next chart, which is nice to see. These are the most Googled areas, and it shows you which country looks mainly for which holiday country. And unfortunately, I don't see Austria, I don't see Germany, but I see a lot of Italy and Spain and France a little bit. But it's now we all understand why the Italian colleagues are looking so hard for opening the borders, because this is their life, tourism. And without tourism, they can quit. There are a lot of industrial businesses in the north of Italy, but it is very important to know what the world is looking for, and they are looking for Italy, Spain, Australia, Greece, and France. You can all have a look as it's a very nice website named travelsupermarket.com, and it also gives me always a little bit a relation how important we are. Yeah. So what does it mean for the Alps that we have a corona pandemic situation at the moment? You can see that, and I'm quite sure that you all agree that this will not the future anymore. That we have mass tourism like you see it here, or maybe it continues as it always was. My opinion is people look for more what you see on the right side of this chart. You can compare it with a nice beach walk as well. It doesn't matter, but people looking for our areas, I'm quite sure they are not visiting beach areas like you see with these nice colorful umbrellas. The big question for a lot of destinations will be, is the plane still, or will the air business still have a future? I can't say, I'm not such an expert, but we know for us, as I mentioned before, for the Alps, it is very important that we are reachable by train and by car. And these two, especially the train, becomes more and more important, but the car will be, or gets a revival, maybe more than in the past, and more than expected for the future because of environmental issues. But I'm happy that we have such good prepared roads. If we talk about tourism in the future, we have to be aware that the shock is deep. I'm very often down in my information center and listen to the conversation my colleagues have with interested holiday makers and our clients. And every second question is, how safe will it be in Lech? And there are a lot of people, there's no doubt about it, there's a lot of people looking for a relaxing, easy holiday wherever they want, without any masks, without any distance. But it's a fact that minimum, in my opinion, the half of the requests is totally looking for such safety activities. And it is because of that, what you see on the picture, because of traumatic pictures followed us during the last weeks. And if we talk about holiday, we have to be aware that there is a lot of old people looking for a holiday with their grandchilds, for example, this summer, because the parents have to work, or the parents are maybe happy to leave the kids a little bit with the grandpa and the grandmas, and this is quite understandable, I think, and logical. And so I think we have to do maybe more than our government waits from us. This is what I want to say at the end of this chart. So, from the point of view of Best of the Alps and of the Alps, I think we are already, and we always been, very well prepared for this future. We didn't expect that a pandemic, a pandemic is coming. We didn't want it to have such a crisis. But the freedom we are able to offer, the very close structure with small restaurants, with all the kind of hospitality we are able to offer, with our kind of houses, not the big hotels, more the small hotels, more people feel much more comfortable at the moment if they are in houses where they have a little bit the overview how many people are in these houses. So all in all, I want to say that freedom, nature, social life, social distance life, safety are the attributes for the future. And this is what we try to sell this summer. And I expect that we have to sell it, or it's a nice kind of selling for the future as well. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you so much, Hermann. This was really an interesting insight. And before we come to questions, if you allow, one of us who's ever been to the Alps and to Lech in special, I think you said something very wrong about this interesting region. And this is that you find nature, you find freedom, and you find a safe but easy living there in the Alps. This is completely true. And it's so interesting to have this example from the Alps. So do you see any questions on your side for this interesting presentation? Irene, you have the overview of the questions, I guess.
At the moment, no questions, but I did get 2 comments before, so during the presentation. So Uwe wrote that I agree with your expectations, and then Marta wrote, I like this carefully thinking and acting. I agree. So maybe if either one, Uwe or Marta, would like to comment a bit on the presentation. Please go ahead.
So one question maybe.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you very much for your presentation. It was very interesting to share your expectation and with you. And I have one question about Russian tourism. Whenever I was in the Alps, I met a lot of them. And in the future, what do you think about them?
I'm quite sure that the Russian business comes back in the same way as the US business comes back. but compared to the past, I expected much more Chinese businesses coming in. For a lot of our destinations, the Russian business is still very important, like the whole Swiss destinations, but also the French destinations. One of it is not Best of the Alps member, but for them is the Russian business very important, Courchevel. They live out of the Russian business, and they are at the moment, they have a big problem without Russian tourism. And they all will come back sooner or later. The big change will be that beside the US and the Russian and also the Brazil tourists, I expect a high increase from the Chinese market, not only because they are long-term growing. I also think that the Chinese, they buy everything what they can in Europe at the moment, and especially in Italy. They are big shoppers there, and it would wonder me if even if they have now a new crisis in Beijing, but in a long-term perspective, I would say that this is they're all overtaking a country at the moment, a nation at the moment.
Thank you, Hermann. One must know that Uwe is our ambassador in China. He has made a cooperation with Qingdao come true, a sailing cooperation. And if you want to go to Qingdao, you should have Uwe at your hand. You can't find a better one. So
Great.
before, absolutely. So
that's right, but this year I don't like to travel anymore.
Not this time, but they are already asking, as you might imagine. They're asking for Uwe to come back again, and I'm sure that he will be back next year. So before we come to this very strong power line between Kampen on the island of Sylt and Lech Zürs in Austria, Hermann, may I ask one more question? How high is the highest mountain in Lech?
The highest mountain in Lech is about 3,400 meters. It is not so high. It is sometimes advantage, sometimes a disadvantage. But the resort itself, the resorts are on an average altitude of around 1,500 to 1,700 meters situated. So that means that we have very often snowfalls even in the summer.
So this is impressing. Understatement is impressing if we are talking about a more than 300,000 meter high mountain of being not so high, because now I look at Birgit Freese and at Kampen of Sylt, and they have it's not a mountain, but it's a dune, a very nice dune. And believe it or not, it has 62 meters of height. Birgit, the floor is yours, coming to the strong power line between the very north and the center of the Alps.
So now, can you hear me now? Yes. So hello everybody. I'm very glad to be here, but I have to say, Hermann, you're my favorite today because I haven't seen you such a long time. So at least I can see you now on the TV. My name is Birgit Freese, and I'm born and raised in Hamburg, but I've been living and working in Kampen around about 21 years now. So I briefly would like to explain our cooperation. I have 5 minutes. I hope I can handle it in 5 minutes. How it came to this cooperation. And I had collected some pictures, just a couple of motions in my presentation. I will give it to you right now. So, okay. So the beginning of this, yes, unusual partnership between our really tiny village Kampen on Sylt, and Lech did not really necessarily start as a love at first sight. Our Kampen hotelier and deputy mayor, Dirk Erdmann, is a passionate skier, and he spent his ski holidays in Lech since childhood, and has noticed time and again that a large number of his hotel guests are sitting on the terrace in Lech, or he met them when we went skiing. So he came to the idea in 1997. He did the first flirt with the mayor of Lech, but he got rejected. I think maybe he thought, please send away these crazy Frisians. What is Kampen? What is Sylt? Because by that time, they didn't even know about Kampen. But the Frisians are very strong, and they didn't give up, and they came back, and the heartthrob was increasingly open because in the meantime, Lech had been informed about the touristic importance of Kampen and Sylt, and the director of tourism was able to mediate and to convince everybody to give it a try. Because both location unit that the inhabitants feel committed to the origins. We've heard about it today. The regions, the beauty of nature and the traditional architecture don't have the big houses and modern but slow. And for more than 100 years, both villages have been attracting more and more guests with their art of warm house tradition and successful mixture of what we call it rural down to earthness, normality, authenticity, and that certain cosmopolitan feeling, like shopping, a little bit luxury, restaurants, having a good time, but not going with a long dress, just going with shorts, and in the mountains they just go with the skiing. Yes, you see it here on the picture. It was a big party we made when we have 20 years together. And what is very important for me too, the Frisians and the Walser people, they are very similar. Both are rather skeptical in the beginning. They approach slowly. They are clear and honest in their expressions. So it's not so, what you said from Hamburg, también, the Hamburger, también, Spanish, from the Hamburger, they are a little bit like this. But once have you conquered them, they are extremely loyal souls. The destinations complement, for my opinion, each other perfectly. Kampen and Lech are strong brands with an enormous appeal. They have similar guest structures and stringent goals for tourism at highest quality, in harmony with nature. That's very important. Quality in harmony with nature. Guests love the mixture of movement and enjoyment. So swimming in the North Sea, waves in summer, and in the winter sports in front of beautiful mountain panorama. You see it here in winter. Take a break in the mountain hut, or sit with your feet in the sand in a beach bar. They are the same feeling. And that's what the people want. They want to have a feeling, authenticity, nature. And yes, here our mayor, we have 2 women here in charge in Kampen. This is Steffi, our mayor. And this is, yes, we drink sometimes champagne, it's true. So we have launched plenty of joint marketing activities. Some of them rather unusual. You see it here on the pictures. One highlight was certainly the Lecher Mondflug gondel. They transported it from Lech right at the beach in Kampen. And we used it at the home of our beach chair rental. Or we had here this ski stand where the surfboards were stored. But also small personal initiatives have created a bond. For example, each year we go to the Lecher Christmas market, the mayor and myself, and we are selling little métis rolls there. And we get together, we come to talk with the people, with the normal people, with the guests. So that's only a little thing to do for marketing. But the Alcon players, you saw them here on the pictures, they're visiting the Kampner Summer Festival. They go into the streets, to our famous whiskey mileage. They're just playing and they talk to the guests there. And of course, we have a reed-covered bus station in Lech. A lot of pictures were made by in front of this bus station. And for some years, Lech has been organizing a great Whitsun golf tournament in Kampen, because Lech has a golf place and we have some more golf places. Sorry, Hermann, we have like 5 golf courses in Sylt. But this tournament is always fully booked. And another big thing for our 20th anniversary, Lech brought us a large ski hut. And we celebrated for 3 days and for 3 nights. And yes, the guests and the people who live here. That is the special thing of this partnership. But I have to say it clearly. To keep such a partnership alive, you need, similar to real marriage, a lot of passion for the exchange of places and people on all levels. That's very important. So that's a reason why a momentum of its own develops between the people involved in the hospitality, in the hotels, but between the fire brigades, between the young people, the young confirmants, or the employees. So the exchange must be on all levels. That's very important. And that not only marketing initiatives, but also by means of the many mutual visits. That takes time. So you need time to visit. And that's the reason when we drive to Lech today, we meet our guests there at the outdoor bars. We greet hoteliers or barkeepers on the street, and we stop everywhere for a coffee. So we need like mostly an hour to get to this small Lech from one end to the other, because we meet so many people, and not only me. A lot of people, we took there a lot of people, like the fire brigade, for example. So this friendship based on a lot of people. So we are convinced, Hermann, I ask you, we are convinced that this marriage can easily celebrate the golden wedding someday. What do you think?
Yeah, I absolutely agree. we will celebrate as more golden and diamond weddings as we can. And I'm happy that it's very close in the future that we are able to celebrate again. We are still working on some new concepts to celebrate on the island, on your island.
Yeah, thank you very much, Birgit. This was really interesting to see. This is not only, as you have seen, this is not only a marketing cooperation between 2 touristic superstars, but this is much more. This is really a cooperation over the whole range of a town. You mentioned the fire brigade and so on and so forth. At the same time, you're in the same situation. So relatively small places with a lot of international visitors coming to this place. With all these challenges, even in this challenging time, but it's so good to see that you have those boundaries. And one last word, I have to say, if you should be a golfer, you should go to Kampen. You should go to Kampen anyway, but if you're playing golf, you should go to Kampen and shouldn't leave this out. So we are now coming to a very short break. We'll move on, I would say, at 10 to 12, so we have some minutes left. And after the break, at 10 to 12, we'll have our 3 city cases. One from Turku, one from Pomeranian region, and from Kiel. So meet you back again at
Wolfgang,
11:50.
before we go, Wolfgang, there is actually
Yeah.
one question after this presentation.
Okay, yeah, great.
So the question is, do you have plans how Kampen and Lech Zur can profit from this cooperation during the upcoming months?
Yeah, maybe I give you just a short example. During the last weeks, I've been in a very close touch and communication with Dirk Erdmann, one of the leading hotel owners on Sylt and in Kampen, and we exchanged a lot of what happens in Austria, what happens in Germany. So we gave each other internal views of the market development and the politician development in each country. And that helped me a lot to understand more what happens in Germany. And I guess it was also a help for our colleagues in Kampen to estimate a little bit better what will come, how the future, the close future in the next weeks will be. Birgit, I don't know. So it was Dirk, because he's also in front of the tourism politics on the island. But even when we do more the marketing level, if it goes into the direction of direct marketing cooperation. But this politician exchange was very important, I think.
I have a question, if I can start. It's possible?
Yes.
Herman and Ingrid, is your cooperation, is it only a marketing cooperation, or bring its guests from North Germany or special from Sylt to Lech and other destinations, and in the other way?
Very good.
Yeah, yes, it is a market. It is at first it is a marketing cooperation, and all the guests who come to Lech and to Kampen, they feel very, very strong to stay in for the next years, to go to Kampen, to go to Lech, because they feel that this partnership confesses them. I don't know how to explain it. Yeah, to confesses them. But of course, a lot of people, that's what we hope. We cannot really count it. But we often see that when we go there to have a marketing activity in Lech, that a lot of people, they stand around us, they say they want to come, they are interested. So we are looking for people who have really never really heard of us, or a little bit. So we make them curious and to come. So I guess we cannot really count it, but the German and the Austrians are, yes, we had some added some percent.
May I add that once again, we have a very high number of interface holidaymakers in Kampen and in Lech. I expect that people coming from cities like Hamburg or from Dortmund or from Stuttgart, which are holidaymakers on Sylt in the same way than here at the Arlberg. I expect that 80% are visiting Kampen and Lech, and this is not only estimation. We can also figure it out. But to stabilize and to increase this number of holidaymakers, because the type of tourist comes to Kampen awaits exactly the same as Birgit mentioned before or described before, what the attributes of holiday they are looking for. And this is such a perfect and genius cooperation. I love it.
Thank you. Are there any more questions from your side before the break? So we'll have a lot of time for questions after our city examples. But if you have any questions now to this interesting cooperation, Just
There is
go ahead.
one more, yes.
Yeah, Irina?
So, yeah, so for Herman, you mentioned Chinese guests will increase. Do you feel your resorts are ready for it? For example, with food, preferences, staffing, language, and so on. Have you made any other preparations for such development?
First of all, I have to say we are not looking for the Chinese tourists, which are at the moment mainly, which you see at the moment mainly in Austria. We are not looking for the Vienna, Swarovski Crystal World tourists, not for the mass tourists from the Chinese market. In Lech, we are, and also for the whole of the Best of the Alps group, I can speak. We are looking for European with the affinity of European culture people. People from China, which are business makers at the moment, they studied in Oxford or in Paris. They have experience of European culture, and they want to see the European culture again. We don't, in that way, we are looking for international Chinese guests. And that means that we don't have to change such a lot of things like you have to do if you work in the cities with Chinese tourists. You have to be aware of different cultural gaps, and you have to create the special breakfast buffet they need, and the hectical moments they create. So this is, in my opinion, not the same gust. And so far, no, we are not. Yes, we are prepared, but because of the niche we are looking for in the Chinese market.
Okay, if we don't have any more questions at this point, I would say we have a short break now until 12 o'clock, and we'll move on until at 12 o'clock. So you have 10 minutes left to make your booking either at Kampen or at Lech, but be fast because it's very questions at this time. See you all again at 12 o'clock. See you. Questions from different sides. We now come directly to our UBC cities. As I told you, UBC has around about 70 member cities all around the Baltic Sea region. And the questions we want to come to is, are there ways out of the lockdown? So in Germany, we still have a kind of a lockdown. Now slowly we're coming out of that. We know that other countries haven't done anything or not enough. So, but all of us are looking for ways out of the lockdown, and of course looking for ways how to market our region, how to market our cities in the future. And the last and important question is, will we see changes in the tourism industry? And we learned from Herman and from Birgit and from Bettina that there will be major changes. I believe, this is what I learned, that none of them believe that we will go directly back to the situation we have. And we have to see how will the situation be in the future. So now we have three very interesting examples of cities, of UBC member cities. And we start with Ann-Margret from Turku, a famous city in Finland. And if I say famous, it's not only because Irene is coming from Turku, but it is the former capital city of Finland, has been capital city of Finland for a very long time. And now still it is important in shipbuilding, in tourism, of course. And I'm glad to have Ann-Margret in, who will tell us about the situation and the ideas they have in Turku, Finland. Thank you, Ann-Margret.
Yes, hello, and thank you, Wolfgang, for telling that this is the most important city of Finland. I think you said something like that. Well, actually, Turku is really the place where Finland was born, and actually 9 years ago we were the European Capital of Culture, and this tells something about the city, which was once the medieval destination of Hansa ships, and today it's where the world's largest cruise ships are built at our Meyer shipyard, the German owners, which we are very fond of. And we used to say that this city is, that we have a city culture in the arms of the archipelago. And just a minute. Yes. And the content of my presentation today is here. And now during this difficult period, we have had time to think more deeply about the future of travel, including the signals of change in travelers' values. And according to the research of the travel research company, there is huge potential in domestic travel. And to travel locally in your own regions, it's cost effective, and many people have lack of money and disposable income after this period, and are therefore forced to change their plans. And it might be that people will not even have the possibility to travel wherever they want until 2021 at the earliest. And whenever we start to travel again, it's for sure that the main priorities will be our trust in the safety of any destination. And according to that research, there is interest in neighboring countries, and we consider our Baltic neighbors to offer a safe harbor, which is why yesterday we were welcoming the publishing of the Turku-Tallinn route, and the hugely positive response it has received amongst the public. And Herman was speaking about the flights, but I think the direct flights are sustainable flights. If you can just fly from A to B, like we have from Turku via Air Baltic, we have the direct flight to Riga, and via Wizz Air to Kaunas, and Kaunas is going to be next year the European Capital of Culture. I have not yet visited Kaunas, but I shall do it as soon as possible. And of course Tallinn by boat is a fantastic opportunity. But of course we are all the time thinking that when will Europe be fully recovered? And that's a question nobody can answer at the moment. And the values of people nowadays and they have changed, and we have found that people have been supporting the local restaurants by buying present cards, takeaways, and so on. And the respect for and willingness to support our local businesses has been extremely strong. And short holidays and the trend of so-called staycationing is becoming more fashionable. People are tired of being forced to stay at home, and therefore they are also eager to travel somewhere during the weekends. And this leads to many more shorter holidays during the year, which has its own benefits and helps entrepreneurs to maintain their good services. And in addition, the value of experiences is becoming greater than shopping, for example. I don't know if it has something to do with Chinese people, as we heard a while ago, but I think we Western people, we value more the experiences of a lifetime, not the consumer paradise. And in Turku, we have been thinking that the quality of visitors is more important than the number of visitors. And sustainable visitors are those who stay for a longer period, but they are also those who visit the restaurants and are interested in our local culture. And those who take interest in our food. And as a city with a great culinary presence, we have begun plans together with our entrepreneurs to offer a great variety of souvenir food products. So the food culture continues to thrive. And by saying souvenir food products, I mean, for example, when I travel to Italy, I always buy different kinds of pasta and olive oil and things like that. And we are planning with our entrepreneurs some kind of local souvenir things to take along. I don't know if you have ever heard the Finnish salmiakki. It's a very special thing which I think only Finns can like, but we still have some other things which you might appreciate in the future. And we have always been very happy because our Ministry of Employment and the Economy is strongly supporting domestic travel. So our Minister of Economy, Mika Lintilä, has said, stay in Finland and support your locals. And Finnish tourism organizations run a campaign together with the ministry, and the name of the campaign is 100 Reasons to Travel in Finland. And I am the chairman of this organization, and we are running this campaign for 4th year. And now we have been very happy, and it's going to be published at the end of the week. And because we are so small family, I could perhaps tell you in advance that the Ministry of Economy has given us €500,000 to run the campaign. We are so happy for that, and it's for domestic traveling. And of course, Visit Turku has chosen it as a main marketing channel. And we have also this Kiss My Turku. It's our own regional marketing channel where we have also travel products. It's possible to buy them from our new online shop, and it opens soon in next week. And there we are trying to focus on niche products which differentiate us from other areas. And this time it's more important than ever that we have this combination of city culture and nature. Like I said, that we have a slogan, city culture in the arms of the archipelago. And we have been talking today about the space and clean nature, safety and responsible tourism, and they are of course our key factors. And we have been working during this COVID time to get this certificate of sustainability and quality, and I think we are going to get it also in some weeks. And this is from one travel magazine. They have been searching for Europe's best island escapes, and our archipelago trail, island of the archipelago trail, is one of those. And as you all know, oh yes, there was one more thing. The city of Turku supporting the local economy. I think you other cities also have this, but we have decisions that the city has granted permission for areas such as the Cathedral Square. It's a huge square, and different restaurants can host and can establish new pop-up terraces there. And that's a brand new thing for us. And also the city has lower rents during this period, and especially, and of course only in city-owned venues. And also Visit Turku has got an extra finance for marketing the city. And this was my last and the most important slide, telling you that we have to take care of our best asset, the Baltic Sea. Thank you. This is my short presentation.
Thank you so much, Anna, for this interesting insight. Do I see any questions from the audience? Do you have any questions to Anna? And I can tell you, I've been to Turku also in winter times and in summer times, and it's really worth a visit. So leave Helsinki on the side, go to Turku directly. Do we have any questions to Anna?
In the chat, there are no questions at the moment. I'm checking the participants if somebody is waving their hand. Not at the moment, it seems.
Okay, so we have all the opportunity to ask questions to all our speakers in the very end. So if you have some questions left, no problem, we'll have enough time. We'll now move on to a very vital region in Poland, Pomeranian, and we will have Marta telling us about what you're doing there in this member region of the UBC in Pomeranian. Marta, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Wolfgang. Hello, everybody. Dear colleagues, thank you very much for the invitation to this webinar and the opportunity to say a few words about the pandemic from Pomorski region perspective. I'm responsible for tourism, for regional tourism. I work in Marshal Office, and I'm also president of Pomorski Tourism Board, which task is to promote Pomorski region on domestic market and on foreign markets. So I try to, after good lessons from UBC, how to share the screen. So I think that it's possible to show you my presentation. Is it okay?
Yes, it's fine. Yes, go ahead.
So a few words, and I hope that I will be under the limit of time. The tourism was the first sector hit by coronavirus, and it's likely to be the slowest to recover from the crisis. That's why the words of the Bloc Internal Market Commissioner, Terry Burton, are so important. I think that it's good to show it. He said that I consider that tourism should benefit the most, more than 20% without a doubt. And these words, I think, give us hope. I'd like also to show you the map of Europe, the regional dependence on tourism at NAT level number 3. It's connected with the regions. And dependence of seasonality on intensity, as can be seen, the Baltic coast and other regions in Denmark, Sweden, Finland, and Germany have maximal intensity on tourism, traffic, and maximal seasonality. And that means that we have conditions to develop. And during the crisis, it's, I think, more difficult than we can imagine. Poland, the brand of Poland was last year on the 22nd place, and the value of it increased 3.7%. Our country and Pomorskie region were very well-known tourist destination, and we developed rapidly. But pandemic changed the regional tourism offer totally, we can say. The lockdown for more than 2 months generated the breakdown of tourism economy, including the largest companies such as the airports, hotels, museums, tourist attractions, and several thousand small business entities. Because of the tourist season, which is longer than only 2 months in summer, many companies lost their revenue opportunity. And the economy was realizing subsequent legislation every few days, as you see. But information about this was also announced shortly before the implementation. From here, many objects later opened. On the right side, I put the dates of opening the industry, and also you can notice the number of infected people in Pomorskie region, and we have on 13th of June 1.7% of the number of the country, so it's totally less than in other regions. But the pandemic is still on. Pandemic created totally new situation in tourism. Closed borders, nearly all companies were locked, new restrictions because of new sanitary conditions. They created different conditions for staying in facilities. And during the lockdown, 10% of hotels functioned accepted business trips. 10% were ready to transform into medical care spaces to absorb the escalating demand for hospitals treatments. Restaurants, they served take-out meals. So many objects tried to survive. When the isolation exit started, the hotels began to operate very slowly, not all, initially accepting half of the number of guests. Domestic flights like Gdańsk-Warsaw Gdańsk or Gdańsk-Kraków Gdańsk using half of the space. Coastal branch is waiting for the summer because this year the tourist season starts from the summer. Normally it lasts all year. Maybe not on the same level, but it is. And we say when we think about coastal branch waiting for summer, we say about the months June, July, and August. But during these weekends, the industry started to work because weekend stays started to become more popular. We also noticed that development of new destinations and new directions of tourism. Of course, sanitary safety is a new priority everywhere, but also free cancellation of arrival became a new priority. And they are the key factors when tourists decide where to go. New direction of tourism become. We say that this isolation tourism. This is a new way of rest, where people want to feel safe with their relatives. More popular is an active to nature tourism, like walking, cycling, kayaking, or caravan tourism. Very popular became camping houses, campings, agro-tourist offer, and of course unknown places. Somebody of you told already about it. People come for short stays, they use private transport, and tourists choose nature area and open air museums as a first choice places. Big cities have a big challenge because city breaks now, they are not very popular like in the past because tourists are focused on outside offer, and really to big cities and big hotels suffer. Opening borders doesn't solve the problem of the lack of tourists. It depends on neighboring countries. That means difficult situation of tourist operators. We have more than 300 firms in this sector. We were looking for different analyses and we found British research that identified 4 types of future travelers. Maybe it will be useful knowledge for you. And first type is nestless. They are nestless, people who don't plan trips until the invention of the vaccine. Second type of tourists is the bird embracers, people planning trips but focusing their attention on hygiene, safety, and maintaining social distance in tourist places. The believers, they are convinced that companies, in that case tour operators, that have reputation will do everything to make their rest safe and the same as before pandemic. And the last one, the Avengers, a group that has lost a lot of time due to the pandemic, hence wants to catch up as soon as possible. Additional public resources were opened to support healthcare systems and other activities directly linked to the outbreak of the disease on country and regional level. But beside this, financial support by government was also huge. There are several versions of the Anti-Crisis Act. Now we have the Act number 4. Also regions, self-government of Pomorski region gave financial support, and the region prepared loans for working expenses for SMEs and also subsidized for tourist investment expenditure, adapting objects to new conditions, micro and small entrepreneurs. And the branch was waiting for this support. So total regional support for business SMEs up to date is about 250 million euro, including financial instruments. This is a huge amount of money, but it's still not enough. In March, just after the isolation, we asked the branch about their needs. And the answer was very short. They need financial assistance and promotion activities. This finance assistance were prepared by government and by regional authorities, but it's still not enough, as I said. And now we see that the branch still needs more money for current and investment expenses. But talking about marketing and promotion activities, Pomorski Tourist Board, which I represent, prepared multi-stage marketing campaign containing PR activities and activities in the area of product placement of the region, shown mainly in social media. Of course, I agree with, I'm sorry the name, with Herman, that we have to do it slowly and with big and very carefully. Our drivers are nature and regional culture, and we do it step by step, not with big pressure, because we don't really know how the consumers will behave, how they react. We can imagine their needs or preferences, but the season will show it. This is a very good news that Gdańsk, the capital of Pomorski region, were included in the list of the safest places in Europe, prepared by European Best Destinations Organization. This is really good news. And locations were analyzed, among other, in terms of epidemic situation and how much they suffer from the COVID-19 virus. We use this information, of course, in our marketing activities. We cooperate with our partners. We have 85 partners in Pomorski Tourist Board, and we say, don't give your money back. Change the date. So stay in touch with us. Our campaigns titles are Pomorski Ready, Pomorski Active. So we show the region and the beauty and possibilities for tourists and we show the region without pressure. We only show the magic of the region of attractions, and we'll see if people come. Looking back to the weekends, they want to stay at the seaside. So for now, there is no problem with tourists, but we never know what happens later. During our activities, we noticed new trends, horizontal, we can say. First of all, it's maybe nothing new. Internet usage. All seats reservation payments are done by internet, and this tool became the most important tool in our life. Business tourism is also in internet now, so webinars, online meetings, it's a normal that we meet like today through internet. In marketing, we use social media. This is the main tool. So Facebook, Instagram stories have become the best communication with the recipient. We noticed big development of domestic tourism. It was always big, but now it's because of canceled flights, and up to yesterday, shut borders. Domestic tourism developed rapidly, but high costs are expected, and we are afraid of it a little bit because the season is very short. Also because of less connections, people started to look around and visit the neighborhood. Also because of fear of infection, and normally media don't say about it loudly, but this is one of the reasons that people don't go to. They prefer sometimes to stay home. Also, climate change generates different way of thinking, management, behavior, especially now after isolation. It became important. We saw that new conditions, the time created new conditions for creating new jobs. For example, cruise manager is the result of the HANA project, but these are people who integrate the service of passengers who want to explore outside the port. Also, new job like free time managers, and I think there will be more. So this pandemic time changed our way of thinking and changed our life, even if we don't say it loudly. New responsibilities for employers are also visible due to the more stringent sanitary safety conditions in facilities, which is associated with a broader scope of management competencies. So maybe this is something special for education, and we have to think of it that new directions at universities will rise. And finally, something to our strategy, because now we are working on strategy of Pomorski region till 2030. Four major response categories have emerged. First of all, protecting people. So it's very important to protect visitors and tourism workers. We can't forget about them. Second one is ensuring business survival along the tourism supply chain, and in particular supporting SMEs, which are the bigger value of tourist industry. The third one, putting in place coordination mechanism, beginning from the strategy of Pomorski region, including coordination measures to better target responses and support sector recovery. Also contain monitoring of data, monitoring of the branch. And the last one, close operation with the branch, especially exchange not only to support them by finance support, but also exchange the experience, common activities, and traffic tourism management. So I think that supply tourist branch, in this case, will be prepared for new conditions, but it's worth ensuring demand, as isolation has influenced customers' decisions in a different way. But I liked one sentence I had today, that the lesson from this pandemic time is everybody has to help each other. And I think this is the key message now. And thinking about this, we can develop our cities, our regions, and tourist branch. Thank you very much. If you have any comments, please share with me. I don't, Wolfgang. Could you put the microphone?
Welcome to the webinar. This is how it goes. You have to turn your microphone on first and then you start talking. Thank you very much, Marta. This was detailed insight, very open words. And I like very much what you say, that we really need each other's in these pandemic crises to go on and find a way into the future. And I'm quite sure that Pomeranian region with Gdansk will make its way out of the lockdown and into a new bright future. Before we come to Uwe and the city of Kiel, are there any questions? Do you have any questions to Marta? Is there anything you would like to ask her now?
At the moment, it seems that no questions.
Okay, if this is not the case, I would like to hand the floor over to Uwe from Kiel Sailing City, not only my hometown, but at the same time, the home of the Kieler Woche, which is the biggest public festival in the north and the largest sailing event in the world. Not this year, really. We have a Sailing Plus X event this year, but normally you have up to 3.5 million visitors in 1 week. And one of the persons who are responsible to organize everything from tourism, city branding, our cooperation with China and so on and so forth around Kiel is Uwe Wanger. So I'm more than thankful to have Uwe in. Uwe, the floor is yours. We can see your slides, Uwe, but we can't hear you by now. Maybe you have the same challenge like me to open the mic. Uwe, are you still with us?
I think he is. I will try to unmute him so that he will be able to speak.
So now I have it?
Yes.
Do you hear me? Oh, sorry for this, but I saw the presentation and nothing else, and now I can see the guys from the conference and also my presentation. Thank you. Thank you for the warm welcome, dear Wolfgang, and I'm very proud to be a part of this conference, and thank you for the presentation we had before. It was very interesting. Kiel has been mentioned more often today, so I get to the facts right away. But before, I like to say, in addition to the presentation of Bettina Bunge, something we only haven't a long coastline to the East Sea. We also have on the coastline to the North Sea. It's also 468 kilometers long. And in addition to Hermann Fechner, we also have mountains in Schleswig-Holstein. Our highest mountain is the Bungsberg, is in the height of 167 meters. So it's our greatest one. And in addition to Birgit Freese, you show the picture of Uwe's dune in Kampen. I have to say it's not my own dune. I'm only a guest there. So now I come back serious to the facts. Now I can work this by this. I have to know. It's difficult here to. So yeah. Where we stay in tourism in Kiel, last 10 years we had a huge development in tourism. We came from a lower interest city into the top 20 of the city destinations in Germany. Now we are in the charts on the place of 12 for city traveling. So we are very proud of this, and we have overnights in the year of 2019 from 3.1 million. And in the daily tourism business, we have more than 20 million guests. And the same like Hermann Fechner told you, we also leading by event marketing in our city. And Wolfgang, you told us about the Kiel Week. Yes, it's the greatest event we have in our city with a lot of visitors, more than 3.5 million visitors each year. So we will see what happened this year when we only have the sailing event in September. And in 2019, we also have the anniversary of the German unification, a lot of official ceremonies and various conferences. And we also have the European Handball Federation finals that also bring a lot of guests to our city. But the important tourism part are the business travelers and the MICE segment. And we are not known for a beach holiday, but that's the point. I will tell you what we do in the future. And during this great development in tourism the last 10 years, now we have 9 new hotels on planet until 21. And number 5 is probably going to open in June. The others will follow in 21. So it's a great situation for Kiel now. Now we come to the Corona. I have to change it. Now we have no infection anymore in Kiel, and also in Schleswig-Holstein, the infection rate is very low. And you know, we open for tourism in May at the 18th. And we have the opening first with strict conditions. For example, the first step allowed second homeowners to come, then retail could open again, and the last step includes the hotels. But some islands, maybe like Sylt, are still closed for day tourism on some weekends we have. And so I don't like to talk about the past when we closed everything here. It was a very sad time for us. But we manage it better each day now. No, I can't. So, as an independent registered association, Kiel Marketing depends a lot on the revenue arising from bookings of accommodation, packages, or sales at the tourism information. During the crisis, the turnover suffered badly because of the cancellation, the turnover even turned into a loss-making situation for the company. And as a registered association, we did not have a lot of savings, so we were in need of money to keep our company alive. It was very a bad situation. So we need to act quick, send employees in short-time work, applied for credit, and asked the capital, Kiel, as one of our biggest sponsors for an extra grant. They approved to give us 250,000 euros extra for tourism and retail campaigns, and 100,000 to running the business as usual. There was a great support from our city. We are very happy. To show you one example that makes it quite clear how we suffered. The booking of accommodation during summer from July to September 2019 compare with now. We have the turnover from nearly 500,000 euros now to 136,000. And including turnover made with conferences in the MICE segment, we had the same period from July to September, nearly 180,000 euros, and now 0. So it's very hard for us to running the business, but with the extra grant we have, we can really come back and not. So we need to get back on track and try to increase the numbers again, not only for us, but for the whole city. With the extra grant, we were able to start campaigns to revitalize our 2 main business areas, gastronomy and retail, city center, and the tourism sector. To support the retail, in the first step, we launched the Kiel Hilft Kiel campaign, meaning is Kiel support Kiel, maybe it's clear. The project starts in cooperation with a regional business development, the Wirtschaftsförderung Kiel called Kiwi, and also with a startup from the university called Open Campus. The core of the campaign is a website, of course, and the campaign was improved via social media, of course. Also, we hang posters all over the city and did online advertising.
If I can interrupt you, Uwe, for just 1 second, we have a small problem with your slides. We can only see the first slide.
Oh, that's bad. What can I do?
So are you changing the slides when you are speaking, or?
No, yes, I change it every time.
That's very interesting. I don't know why it's not changing on the screen. Because your sharing is fine.
Maybe I can share it again. Maybe we can do this.
Yes.
Ah.
No, it's different.
This was the slides before, you see.
Yeah.
Okay, I tell you, sorry, you have to interrupt me before. So no, I'm there. Okay, this is a campaign launched Kiel Hilft Kiel to support the retail. And this is a cooperation with Kiwi, the regional business development company, and with the University of Kiel, and they have a startup called Open Campus. The core of the campaign is a website, and the campaign was and is promoted via social media, and also we hang posters all over the online advertising, so everyone knows this Kiel Hilft Kiel headline. And that is the website. No, sorry, I did it. Did it work? Can you see this?
It's Kiel Hilft Kiel that we are seeing now.
And now?
Kiel Hilft Kiel.
Why don't you move so badly? Can you see this one? The website and posters on the right side? No.
Now it's again the launch of Kiel Hilft Kiel. So if you want to share some other document or website, then you need to share again. So choose a new thing to share.
Yeah, that's bad. So what do you see? Can you tell me?
Yeah, it's with these advertisers with Kiel Hilft Kiel.
Only one post on the site or more?
On this one, there's many posts, and it says "Get back on track, first step, city center."
Okay, maybe this is. I would like to explain the website where the residents can find list of invitation and possibilities to find support for the economy. We have a search function for food and retail deliverers, online shop for local shops which is new since the reopening of shops, and that's also up-to-date information about events. So you can see this. The second step of our campaign.
Yes, that's fine. Yes.
Okay, the second step was to launch the Kiel macht wieder auf campaign. Kiel reopens, and when the retail was allowed to open again, the regional campaign to promote the reopening of the retail, and the design is based on the Kiel hilft Kiel design to create a recognition value and to profit from the attention that Kiel hilft Kiel got. So now you can see all of these posters around the city, in the region, and everywhere where you are going on the street, you can see posters like this: Kiel macht wieder auf, Kiel reopen. And on the street, we can see the value. In our shopping areas, we have now a lot of people. Now we are on the level of 75% before Corona. That's a good level now, because in the past there was no one going for shopping. Now it's working very well now. And for this campaign, we had a budget of 100,000 euros. And so we are very happy that we can do this marketing support for the city. So I try to change my slides again. So now I have to ask again, can you see the Stadt am Meer campaign chart? Okay. For the tourism sector, we started an online campaign when the tourists were allowed to travel to our state again, end of May. Stadt am Meer campaign for restart of tourism. The media budget is also nearly 40,000 euros. And in autumn, we also have the same budget again. The idea of this campaign is promote Kiel as a city located next to the Baltic Sea. Perfect destination for a trip and beach holiday. A classical city holiday and also with a part of beach holiday. Hotspots in Schleswig-Holstein will be crowded and fully booked, and Kiel has free capacities that we are trying to sell. That's the idea. Next chart. Where's mine? You can see how it works. Potential customers will be shown the banner if their online profile fits our targets. When they click at it, they will find a landing page with a few information about Kiel and our accommodation offers. Also, there's an option to give your email address if you want to receive an email with information and look at later. Different themes we have. Here you can see the different themes we have. Surfer, for beach, for kiter, only for culture, interesting people, and also for shopping queens. And this campaign works very well. Since this time we start this campaign, we had made bookings for over 100,000 euros. So we are happy that we can run the business again. So now I hope you see the slide with Winspirierend. It's a new word we built. And It's a campaign for the low season in autumn, which will start at September. It also have a media budget from 40,000 euros. And the idea are built on the idea of the prayer campaign to promote Kiel as a city and a beach destination too. Highlight the advantage of the destination, fresh air, maritime atmosphere, wind, and as mentioned, the beach. And we have the idea with all to make a shooting with all the people with mathy hair, so it's maybe interesting then to show classical pictures of the city. So next one. And what do our partners do? I don't have to show the slides now because Betty Bunge show you the campaign. And so I go to the next one. I have to find it now. It's a little bit complicated for me now because I have to manage two screens. So it will be very interesting if you say what you can see now for me. Do you see the picture with the shoes in the sky?
Oh, will we see the Tasch campaign, Willkommen zurück.
Okay, try, okay, this one. Yeah, Betty Bunge shows you the campaign before, so I don't have to say anything to these things, or to this campaign again. Now you have to see the sujet of our cities. Endlich wieder Schuhwurfkunst in echt erleben. The meaning is after throwing your slippers 27 times, finally explore some slipper throwing art. In this design, we have a lot of other layouts for the other cities in our country. Another example. It's a part of our Max Corporation, marketing corporation of the cities in Schleswig-Holstein. And if you can see this layout, the headline is, after 62 days with carpet under your feet, finally walking over cobblestones again. So this is a part of the reopening campaign of our Tasch, or federal agency, and we also have a layout for the city of Kiel. After 6 weeks at home, finally enjoy the white of the Kiel Fjord again. So you can see we try to change from a normal city destination. We have from business tourism and MICE tourism and short city holiday to a city with beaches and with the ocean. So we hope to get more guests in this way in the future. So to change it, also for the low season campaign, the Tasch have a budget in the high of 200,000 euros. The low season campaign called Echt Nordisch, the Cruise North. And in the autumn, we also have a new campaign also from our city corporation. We call this campaign Manufactures. So the Max campaign Manufactures also have a budget from 100,000 euros. Planned with activities are a landing page, a flyer with a map of the various manufacturers we have, a magazine, and therefore a photo shoot. And the idea is promote the cities where there are unique manufacturers and offer an authentic experience. The campaign established the topics sustainability and quality in our cities for individual travelers and creates an additional reason for travel. Our idea for the future. And the look and feel of this campaign could be this. This is a draft of the key visual. We wanted to show something different than the typically expected pictures of manufacturers, which one can see everywhere right now. So the idea is to work with the language, meaning is come build your surfboard in Kiel, because we have a very special manufacturer to build your own surfboard here. And we hope it will work in autumn too, because well, also very important for us to bring attraction to the low seasons in our city. And of course, we also have the Christmas markets too, but we don't know what's happened with the Christmas markets in December and November. We don't know if it's allowed or not. We shall see. So expectations for future next. Yeah, talking about the future, we are expecting a sharp decline in the MICE segment. The MICE segment is, of course, an essential segment for cities, so we have to rethink and position our destination more as a leisure destination and city with beach nearby. Also, in wintertime, the Christmas markets are very important for us now too. Also, we are expecting a higher interest and demand in quality and sustainable, oh, that's a different word for me, sustainability, which we are trying to serve the campaign about the manufacturers. And as we are all expecting and hoping, we believe there will be a rise in domestic tourism with arrival via car or train. So that's all. Any question? I'm sorry for that, I have the problem with the charts. Sorry for this.
Thank you, Uwe. We've seen your charts and they are very interesting. Thank you for giving us this very, very interesting insight into the city of Kiel, home of the Kieler Woche. So we just have 1 minute left. Uwe made a landing directly to the point. Do we have any questions to Uwe or the other speakers we had today?
In the chat, no questions.
All of us are waiting for the lunch, so that's the point.
Everybody is too hungry.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So I thank all of our speakers. It was a really interesting day for me. I had so much insights, and what I've learned from today is that we really in the future need cooperation, and we need innovation for a restart, for a new start after the crisis. But I'm very positive that we in the Baltic Sea region and also in the region of the Alps will find a way, a positive way out of this crisis. Thank you to all of you who contributed. Thank you for all of you being part of this UBC seminar. And a very special thanks goes to Irina for this perfect technical support we had today. So we will book her again. If it's okay for you, Irina, we will always ask you for being our technical support. You made a perfect job. And please find all information on the UBC site and visit us again next time when we come together with the UBC Smart and Prospering Cities Commission to a seminar either on video or in personnel if the situation allows. Thank you and bye. Bye.